So these are the context variables mostly. So what we have seen till now, we have seen trigger.new and trigger.old. Okay. So when we can use trigger.new and trigger.old. So when you want to compare two values. So when you want to compare two values, means old and new values, then you can go with the trigger.new, trigger.old. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, Sanjay.
So
Yes, Sanjay, go ahead.
okay. So these four context variables are very much important to deal with the data in the context variables. And remaining all context variables are like to define the context, like if it is the before insert or after insert, or it is the before in the event or after event, or is insert, is update. Those are all to define which context it is. But remaining these four context variables are very much important to deal with the data in the trigger. Okay. So I'll let you know when the values will be there in the things. So let me draw a small so I'll give one small example. Here we have trigger.new, new map, old, new map, old, old map. Okay, these are the context variables we have in the Apex and the trigger context variables. Now here, before insert, this is the event, right? And after insert, before update, then after update, before delete, after delete, after delete. Okay, so these are the events we have, right? So in which context means before insert, which variables we can use, and if we use other variables, what it does. Okay, what happens when you use other variables which doesn't have values. See, in the before insert, trigger.new will be having values. Okay, trigger.new, let's say I'll keep y. Okay, means trigger.new will have the values. We have already seen that trigger.new we have. Trigger.old, old or new map will not have values. Old will not. Old map also will not have any values. Means if you use trigger.new map or old map, it will throw the null pointer exception. After insert, new will be having the values, new map will be having the values, and old map cannot have the values. And that means you should not use old and old map in the after insert triggers. Okay. So in the before insert triggers, you can use only trigger.new. You cannot use new map, old and old map context variables because those collection variables cannot have any values in that context. Before update, you can have value in the new map, old and old map. So you know this. Update means there will be old version of records and a new version of records. Okay. So new version of records will be in the new and new map. Old version of records will be in the old and old map. Okay. The same in the after update also same, like the new version of records will be in the new and new map, old version of records will be in the old and old map. So before insert, sorry, before delete, so as you are deleting the records, there is no new version, old version, so there will be no records in the trigger dot new and new map. It will be in the old and old map only. Okay. After delete also, the values will be there in the old and old map, because as you are deleting the record, so the new version records will be null and old version records will be there to handle any other scenarios. Okay. And after undelete, the values will be in the new and new map. And sorry, new and new map. So old and old map will be having null values. Okay, so why the values will not be there in the old and old map in the context of after undelete means after undelete is nothing but an insert, right? So why it is called insert? Because it's not in the actual database. It was in the recycle bin. When you undelete that record, it's again inserting to the database. Okay, but only the difference is ID will not be changed. The same ID will be there. It will be undeleted and inserted into the same object again. So that is nothing but one insert. So if you observe that before insert and after undelete can have the same kind of values here. I hope you understand this. Okay. So if
Alright, okay.
yes,
Yeah, and actually, before insert we are having only new. After undelete we are having new and new map. Two we
yes,
have, right?
correct. So this is just like new and new. So because so as I'm saying that, right, I'm explaining that again. So after undelete, there is no much difference. When you are
Okay.
undeleting the record, it's like insert, but there will be a record ID.
Okay.
Record ID will be there. So as there is a ID, then map will be formed.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to highlight. See why there is a value in the new map in the after undelete, but before insert, why we do not have the values in the new map? Because when if you observe the order of execution after custom validations and after triggers, sorry, before triggers, then data will be committed into the database. Then it runs the after triggers, right? So in that case, when it is saving the data to database but not committed, in that context only, the ID will be generated. So then after triggers will be run. So that's why in after triggers, after insert, so the values will be, sorry, after insert, then in the before insert, after executing the after triggers, then only new map will have the values here because ID is created. Okay, so that's how this records will be formed. Just note down this one, the same table, better. Could they pause the recording and note down this? Pratik. We have recursive triggers. Second one, circular triggers, and how to handle that one. Okay. So, what is recursive trigger? What is the meaning of recursive? Recursive or recurrence? The recurrence is nothing but executing multiple times. Means if one trigger is causing to execute multiple times the same trigger, that is called the recursive trigger. Executing many times means same trigger keep on executing many times, then that is called the recursive trigger. So let's write very simple example. Okay. On this student trigger itself, let's say one contact. contact trigger So here, when the recursive trigger will be happen, means if you are updating the same records, means whatever the records you have in the trigger.new, or then if you are updating the same records, then it may cause the recursive trigger. So very simple example, I have contact triggers. When a contact is inserted, check, show you how it happens. And one important thing you have to remember, you cannot perform DML operation on the context variables like a trigger.new, new map, or trigger.old or old map. So whatever it is, you should not perform DML operation on the context variables. So if you try to perform, it will throw the error. If you want to try it, you just try it. You can understand that. Okay. So here, let me take contact. When the contact is updated, the recursive triggers will happen only on the update operation. Okay, so I just need to set the department as ABC. Okay, just need to set department as ABC. Okay, now see, if you want to set any value, that can be done in the before triggers. Okay, that should be done only in the before triggers. Then there will be no issue for the context variables. What happens if you try to set the values is after that? Means if you want to set a value in the after triggers, then what happens? Let me show that and how we for that see that so see equals to so this is the department field I'm setting here. Now just try this. This is update, right? Save it. See this execution of after update caused by system final exception. Record is read only in the trigger. Okay? Means you should not set any values in the after triggers. Okay, then what should we do on this one? Okay, so even if you try to, let's say going to set the value like this, directly update some trigger update trigger dot. Okay. Even if you get the record from trigger.new and try to update, that is also trigger context variable record only. Okay, try this. See this? A subject exception. DML statement cannot operate on trigger.new or trigger.old. Okay, so you should not perform any DML operations on this. Okay, so then how to set a value. Okay, if you get a chance or if you get a requirement to set a value in after triggers, you have to create the records first. Same records. List of for see trigger dot. Okay, now what I'm trying to do is dot contact. Same record only. We are creating separate instance. C dot id. Okay, department equals to. Understand? Now see this. Valid. So what I'm trying to do, so I'm setting the records, creating the records with the ID. Then as we are having ID, you can update the records, right? You can update the record. So now if you observe this is a recursive trigger. How the recursive? Let's say when a record is updated, this logic will be executed in the after update. So it just set the department value to admin and it updates here. So as you are updating the record, again this trigger will be executed, right? Trigger will be executed and again this value will be set and again it will be executed. Keep on executing means multiple times this trigger will be keep on executing. This is called the recursive trigger. You can understand now here. After update, we are setting values and trying to update the same records. Now, as you update this one, again this trigger will execute. So again this updates, again this keep on executing. This is called recursive trigger. Let me show this how it will. It will throw the error. See this? TML exception, update failed. First exception on row 0 with this one. Cannot insert update active entity contact trigger. Max trigger depth is executed. How many times it will be? It can be executed. See this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. Maximum of 16 times the trigger will be executed. If it exceeds that, then it will throw the maximum trigger depth exceeded exception. Then it treats that this is the recursive trigger. Okay. Now, how can we avoid this recursive trigger? As these records are updated, we don't need to execute once again. In that case, we will be using the an apex class with one static variable like C contact trigger controller. Okay. Now here I will declare one static variable, public static boolean is contact. Let's say is contact admin. First I'm giving false. Okay. First I'm giving false. So initially this will be false. Okay. Go ahead and check in the student trigger that here we are updating the records, right? So simply you have to give this if trigger dot is contacted. Means if this value is false, then only it will be executed. Can give like this, or otherwise give another name like contact update required. Okay, service. First time, keep it true. Okay, first time this will be true. So we can just use if condition. That's it, nothing other than that. If this is true, update the record, else don't update. Okay, here what we are doing is once the trigger is updated, we show that you have to make the flag false before performing the update operation. If you perform after update, that is, if you perform here, again same logic will be keep on executing. Try this because update happens here, again it comes to here, again keep on executing. Just try this. That's fine. See this? Same error. Okay. What you need to do is you have to make the flag false before the performing update operation. Then what happens? It comes here. First time this value will be true, so it will make it false and update the records. Second time when the trigger comes to the recursive, it comes second time. As this flag is false, it will skip the update again. Now try this. Okay, this is updated. Okay, this is called recursive trigger and how to check the recursive trigger. Stop the recursive of triggers. Okay, so any questions on this? Okay, note down this one.
Yeah, and actually here if we give after update also
Yes, Sati, tell me.
it should work, right? Because of first time it will go to this loop, then it will update. After update, it will change, right, to false. Hello?
It will change, Sati,
Yeah,
but as you are saying update here,
yeah,
okay, so this update operation performs first, right? When you
yes,
update it, immediately this trigger will be fired.
yes,
Again here it will come here, again updating. This line is not executing at all until unless this update operation is completed, it won't come to the next line. So as
yeah.
you are saying update, it will be keep on updating. It's not coming to the second line. If you keep this
Okay,
line
okay,
and the at line number 50,
okay, okay, Anji. This is
you need
the
to keep that
recursive,
at
right?
the
Yeah, recursive.
before.
That's why. Okay.
Okay. So what is a circular trigger? Means, let's say you have two objects. I have trigger on two objects. So will happen in the update and insert operation. So if you have account contact, contact, the account is updated, it is trying to update contact. Okay. So when the contact is updated,